Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about how women add value in the new society. The new society from the perspective of saying that a lot of changes have happened recently with regards to just the whole experience, global changes to employment status, businesses, um, people, how they operate within the context of work and the household, and just looking at the viewpoints of various women and their response to an adjustment from the old society to a new society. Some people are thinking that it's possible that the society as we knew it previously will redeem itself, and as a result, what we know to be true from formerly, we will embrace again. However, there are so many changes coming in that it's necessary to kind of have a discussion around how does the woman better position herself or themselves in this kind of dynamics where the competitive landscape is not as it previously was on the scale that we know it to be in terms of networking, socializing, and basically just being able to put oneself out there and establish some amount of value on the back of what is presented to others. Now, looking at the word value is very important before even going any further. And the reason why that's important is because value from the viewpoint of what it was previously may not be operating within the constructs of what it is today. So, from the viewpoint of moral worth, establishing some sort of price, that in itself is questionable because most women don't want to think that they don't actually want to think that there's any price attached, but indirectly they do. So that's a conflict of interest in itself. And previously, value had to do with reputation and some sort of morality or social principle, according to online research. And one of the key factors connected to value is there is a strength element, which is ironic because the strength of the woman has been somewhat questionable over time in terms of saying what the definition of strength is for a woman, because if a woman operates from a strong standpoint, even though the dynamics have changed, with equality and women's liberation and just some principles that previously applied that is not to be discussed right now. But I think that in itself, if we actually look at how the word operates and how it's interpreted by the society, that value may be a bit confusing to understand how women can actually add value. Not only adding value from the viewpoint of the society, but value within the context of the household, because a lot of women went back to work or they started working while balancing family and home, which in itself, I mean, based on my own experience, is very challenging, balancing a household and actually balancing being employed, whether it's in a business context, self-employment, or just generally speaking, working for anybody. It's a very demanding thing. So when we actually look at the woman and how she adds value now, I think I think a lot of women have to be going kind of back to the drawing board, because a large percentage of women are more home now, and it requires them to more have a balance between family and home. This is not to suggest that women were moving away from their responsibilities of addressing the household or themselves, but I think the shift from the old society to the new society made a lot of women kind of relook at themselves and how they operate in the household, and even being more around their partners, lovers, husbands, boyfriends, whatever it is, and just being mothers and females. And I think it was easy. It was kind of not easy, but some amount of responsibility. Some amount of responsibility was required in terms of women looking at the whole situation and saying, while I'm at work, what happens to the family, and trying to operate within the context of bringing that monetary value to the family, the monetary value that now is an imperative, because many people adjusted their households to be consistent with the woman working and the man working as well, and actually committing to a lot of expenses that were connected to just having a home, having transport, having certain comforts, and not only for comfort purposes but for functionality purposes. And this new adjustment has seen a lot of people go through unemployment, and a lot of people also shifting in the direction of like transport, logistics, retail operations, more online channels, and basically trying to redefine how their skill sets fit in the new society. Now, this new society is it's basically the foundation elements that are occurring now. So based on movements with or advancements with technology and artificial intelligence, and basically operational efficiencies and sustainability requirements and environmental demands and regulatory changes, the woman now has to be equipped and ready to almost recreate and transform, because even through the online channels, you know it was it was it was less competitive, because now more women will be online competing to say I have value, and and that value is almost depleted, because from the viewpoint that a certain percentage of proportion of women will actually be moving to different positions economically and financially in terms of their worth, and competing on a larger platform with aspirations of actually trying to realign the family, or actually trying to be enough to live a lifestyle that they need to be equipped to not only create but also maintain and grow and change. So women now are faced with a great challenge, and without even recognizing it, it's not only the women but the man and men are faced with the challenge as well. But this conversation is about women and how they add value to the new society. So from the competitive landscape standpoint, I think it's important to look at many women, because there are so many conversations or discussions being had around who is the better choice for a certain caliber of men. There are discussions around high value, what is high value, what is average, and the distinctions between the two. Women have varied opinions about their worth, and also their perspectives are being challenged as well. So I think a lot of women now are, it's almost a requirement to be able to function efficiently almost in all areas, or to address areas of weaknesses, because once it's recognized that those weaknesses exist, sometimes what happens is that because it's so competitive, some of the male in the picture or men in the picture, they'll be inclined to say, well, there must be a high level of feeling there, or they must see from a forward thinking standpoint that competitively positioned, it's better to choose a certain woman that is at a disadvantage as compared to another one that is presenting herself a certain way. But it seems like she ticks all the boxes, but is it a guarantee? And the question of guarantee arises as well, because a lot of people are looking for predictability right now, and they're looking for some sort of guarantee. However, the great challenge is that there are so many people that were positioned as if there were guarantees attached to them being viable partners in the larger scheme of things. And it's worked out that when faced with great challenges, or whether it's economically, socially, or emotionally, they don't fit the bill. And the reason why some women don't actually fit the bill is because of the fact that there were like variations in the proportions of commitment to finding that balance as a woman, and also maybe investing too much time in the money aspect of it. No, don't get me wrong, the money is important, and the reason why the money is important is because economically, socially, globally, there are so many things that are going on right now, and it really comes down to survival of the fittest. So it's logical for one to see where women would have invested more time and energy into trying to go to work and balance family and home. The only problem is that, like I suggested earlier, when the reality of change comes about, it's, you know, it's a different ball game, because who qualified from a tick box standpoint doesn't qualify now, and it also brings questions to the quality of the relationships that you've invested into and the sustainability of those relationships. Now, the sustainability of those relationships have an impact as well on the next generation. So the next generation has to not only observe and deal with those issues that were unaddressed by many men and women from the societies before even this current society and the shift to the new society, but their perspectives and learning capabilities are more challenged now because they have more to deal with from the transformation standpoint. Meaning, you know, children and the next generation are affected by not only the present decisions that men and women are making, trying to readjust and figure out themselves in the the transformation towards the new society, but address issues that they didn't actually recover from the old society. And the landscape has just completely changed because women now, I think we're in a better position to be able to say we value is not necessarily about price. Value, money comes into it, but value is more now shifting towards balance, and that balance is so important. Now, not only that, but previously what was admired as physically beautiful is also now changing in the direction of what is a determinant of beauty. And determinants of beauty incorporate actually the ability for women to survive, compete, operate a household efficiently, find channels and opportunities that are new creations rather than what previously existed, and to be advanced enough to know what is ahead of the game. So how women can actually add value now is to not be closed minded about what is to come, because not only from observation, but even I have to be careful as well, because from the standpoint of, you know, just being closed minded and saying it will all come together, it's going to go back to how it was, it doesn't necessarily mean it will. And the reason why it doesn't necessarily mean it will, it's because there are so many factors from an enterprise standpoint that, and shifts from an environmental standpoint, and shifts pertaining to human advancement around medicine, technology, how humans operate, and just the demands that we as humans actually require from those institutions as well. So I think it's necessary for the woman to almost go back to the drawing board and find some form of truth in the identity of who the woman is and the role of the woman in the household, in the society, and actually going back to like a blueprint of looking at what role do I play as a woman in the whole dynamics of everything? What are my selection criterion? And is it actually a realistic perception or perspective that can sustain and also allow survival? Because the worst scenario one could find oneself in or into is actually just assuming that everything will work with the old ideologies and methodologies and characteristic traits. Now, fundamentally, obviously, we operate within certain constraints and characteristic values. From a value standpoint, certain values don't necessarily shift, but those values can evolve within the context of the changes that are required within the society. So more women, from the perspective of actually being able to survive, must equip themselves with the necessary information and applications that will allow them to transform and not be pushed to the lower aspects of the tangent when it's realized that certain changes are not imminent but are actually present, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Now, outside the scope of that, many women are in the position of even recovering from situations and trying to figure out or going through the confusions of who they are and what they want, even from previously. Much so, what's available to them is restricted as well because of competition, and who had money before doesn't have money now. Who has the potential to have money is in a different category because of self-actualization and realization of self and knowledge and exposure to information. Some people don't necessarily think that money is everything, but they have to survive. And it's just a whole different ball game. Now, the reason why I'm putting out this video is because I think it's necessary for us as women to position ourselves to be a greater force in society without compromising who we are from a female perspective. This has nothing to do with any choices that one may make privately or publicly. It's just how the woman will carry herself in this new society. And one might observe certain people that were not recognized in the old society, who are, whether in secret or just publicly, readjusting to a new way of thinking, might be acknowledged more so than women from previously. So it's important, if when in a relationship, to look at the relationship, because some men may look at the woman that they're with and think, at the end of the day, and vice versa, I can't survive, I can't get through, I can't gain comfort, I can't advance, or it's too late for us to do that. And then one might find that they're in a situation where there are more single people, more broken families, more women going through emotional traumas of recovery and confusion, and more jobs are gone, more relationships break down, and from the impact on the household and the families, it's just it's just a really sad and questionable direction that, we may need to look at. How are we gonna move in a direction of growth and adjust to this new society without having all those negative impacts on the next generation? So I'm putting out this video today to say to the women, and also, I'm always speaking to myself as well, to ask yourself, do you really think that based on the data and the information that is in front of you, that the way in which you're functioning, or the way in which we are functioning, that we can actually be equipped to maintain ourselves, not maintain financially, but maintain ourselves as women, and also be effective in ensuring that the transition to the new society is more of a seamless one and less of an impact to the degree where it is destructive. So this is just food for thought for all of us. And like I said, we're putting out a few videos around the individual, how the individual operates in the society, issues that affect them, because you can have the biggest list of goals in the world, because our channel is about goals and the identity around goals. And you can have the biggest list of goals in the world, but it's not realistic. It's not practical. It does not work, or there's no plan. When you do a root analysis, you're not equipped to be able to adjust. You can't face unforeseen events, and I think moving forward, just from a perspective of doing like a risk analysis of what to expect without too much compromise on self, it's necessary for us to really almost unlearn, re-educate, and relearn, and learn at a speed that carries us beyond who we were previously, and still be effective in being female leaders in the society for the next generation. So I'm gonna close by saying, be encouraged, do more research. I'm being encouraged to, and doing more research myself as well, and just seeing, the greatness in yourself as a woman, but not being closed off to the fact that we can do it. It is possible for us to move in a direction of evolving past who we were, and actually transforming within the context of a society that we have the power to create, rather than just submitting, with, for lack of a better word, because the last video was on submission, submitting to possibilities, submitting to unpredictability. So we're gonna close now, and like I said, be encouraged and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing. Share this video. It's really great that as an audience we've had so many views from you guys, and that you're interested in what we're doing, and we're just asking you to stay focused, and just, while dreaming, ensure that you're realistic in your approach, and just push yourself to the brink of being the better version of you. So I'm Michelle Samuels for Why Goals ID. Have a fantastic weekend and take care of yourselves.